record. There we go. Right, everything's good. Daniel, no, still got USD CAD open. So I'm not too worried because obviously we had GJ and that has more than allowed us to obviously carry on. So right, I'm just getting everything all set up here and ready to go. We're all good. Right, so I've got USD CAD here. Currently approaching the Asian high, so I think you know what it is what it is. So let's now go and have a look into the overall picture here of what has been happening. So we've obviously had the dollar caught me off guard too. We had this candle, I think, this morning while we were live here. I was expecting, I could have bet my house that this was going to come back and test 98. I'm glad I did not because obviously it just continued and continued. So very, very, very interesting here. And obviously, looking to see what's going to happen, now currently no real support around here, potential support here. So I do think this might be tested. However, I was very wrong this morning, so probably going to be wrong this afternoon. But let's obviously, wait and see what happens. But overall, if you look at the dollar for the whole kind of, morning here, we had this big push up. But obviously we have had a bit of a tail off since London opened really, as soon as like 9, 10 a.m. kicked in, we had this big rejection here. So is this going to continue? I do not know. Gold still 1.3% up. I'm going to explain obviously what's been happening here. Not a lot. Now, this is obviously one thing that everyone needs to be aware of. And this is why I highlight trading sessions and obviously why each individual trading session is important because it's very, very rare that you have such, if you look at Asia on gold, for example, Asia moved up about 630 pips. All right, because we've had such a big move from the upside here, you can see London has only moved 260. Yeah. All right. So, and that's the case for everything. You know, um, we've obviously had this huge gap up here. So, if you imagine this is actually Asia here, even though it's only calculating the, volume here, so not obviously as big a move, 36 pips. So what ends up happening, we have a bigger London, almost twice as much. So that tells me there's potential in New York that we might see a bit of consolidation here, in regards to what's going to be happening during the US New York, session. Um, Dom, where can we learn your trading strategies? So obviously, lots of the strategies are pinned in the inner circle, but I do have a course as well, which I'm going to probably speak about later on in the week. So we're only going to do a mentorship option only. So we've also got 10-year yields here starting to drop, so it means, the overall dollar being, safe haven is starting to hurt a bit, and that's what's strengthening up euro here. So euro AUD was one which I was looking at. We obviously, if we look at this on a higher time frame here, we had a huge fall off here, Asia, London fall off. We should see, some kind of a pullback here, potentially into this Asian low here. I would like to see, some kind of a pullback here. So how would we look into entering this trade here? Well, yeah, I probably would stick to the New York opening range here. I'd be looking at something like this. Potential might be even move up to here. So something like this is what I'd be looking at on Euro AUD, and I'm going to mark this one out here. All right, but it's got to clear because this has got every single right or opportunity to continue to the downside here. We know that Euro AUD likes to trend, so we've got to. I'm gonna put a call out box here, right? Wait for a breakout. All right, it must break out. So I'm just going to put this in the inner circle so the guys know what is going down. So let me just put this in. Obviously, as always, this is how long it takes for someone to put a trade idea in, or this is how long it should take. Okay. It doesn't always take this much, but AUD, buy, trade idea, and then wait for it to play out. There we go. So that is one. All right. I like the look of that. GBP I've taken profit right at the bottom here. All right. I just didn't want to push it anymore. I was very, very happy here. You know, this was a great trade. This, I think we got about 60 pips out of this. So that's where if you look at USD CAD, you know, everyone thinks, oh, that's terrible. But if we've made 60 pips on GBP JPY, we're only 20 pips down. You know, we've made three times more. You know, or you should have made three times more on GBP JPY. So, you know, that's obviously, so I'm just going to move this laptop over a bit. That's obviously what we're kind of, you know, looking at here. I am interested around this area. I do think there's potential for this to hold, and I actually think that CAD should be continuing to the downside here, but obviously it's just been slowly trickling. The only thing that worries me about this is if you look at the US dollar, how much this has moved here, and if you compare it to all the other pairs, euro, Aussie, uh, pound, you know, CAD hasn't had this tail off at all, which tells me it's very, very weak, you know. So I'm not very happy with that. I was expecting a nice continuation here. However, these lows have held. So let's now have a look at everything else. You know, like I said here, price action is very, very messy. All right, you know, there's no real kind of structure here. We've obviously got equal highs, equal, you know, lows. You had a very, very bullish push, but, you know, are we going to see that continuation? Nobody knows. So I would like to, that just doesn't interest me. GBP potentially does. Let me just put a feb on this here. So that would have to come into this area here. Okay, I'll be happy to draw that on. So let's draw an area of interest, right, where we're looking for a potential turnaround here, all right? We're not going to 100% take this trade here, but we're going to be looking for a potential turn around. Let's just get rid of this. All right, you know, so as you can see here, the only thing that worries me, this hasn't closed out this gap, so there's a strong probability that, you know, we might close out. You know, there is a lot of resistance here around this area. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for price to come into this area here, have a nice, you know, spike. So a candle that looks a little bit like this. And then we could see some more downside movement here. But this would coincide with dollar potentially pulling down here and then obviously coming back up to 98,500. I don't see, you know, nothing's going to really change what is happening here. But obviously, yeah, this would be a very, very nice little trade here. Could take it down to this level here. So if we just move this over here like that, and we put something like this in, that would be a nice little afternoon trade here. If we get this kind of a setup here, could go for a 20 pip stop loss. Nice and easy, nice and smooth. That would be number two. So if we go call out box, wait for this area to hit. So if I do this as number two, GBP, USD, there we go. So let's do same one here. GBP USD sell. Got to always wait for the trade to play out. And then obviously you've got those extra confluences there. We can see our trend here. We're trending down, up, that down, so potentially should see this to continue. Yeah. That's what we want to be looking out for here. So that's obviously be number two. Obviously, USD Swiss looks good, but not really that interesting. Gold, if I was going to trade gold, obviously, I'm personally only ever looking to buy it right now. I've got two areas marked up and get rid of this now. I've got two areas marked up. Probably my area of interest would be, if I just show you guys, my area of interest for gold would be here. All right, and I would want to buy from here. Or, we've obviously got this opening range. I do think that, and then we've got Asian high here and we've got London high here. But this would be my area where I'd be looking to buy from. So I want price to come down into this area and reject nicely. So that's what we're looking for there. However, I'm not trading gold. Yen pairs, Euro's obviously starting to strengthen. Pound, we could find you get exactly the same entry again here, right? Because it's going with trend. So if I show you guys what I mean here, all right, we've obviously got, if I just get rid of this for the time being, because we don't really need it. There we go. So if you were analyzing your trend, yeah, so we'd obviously have our higher high, and then we'd have a lower high, lower low, right? If we were looking at where we're interested in price, it would be about this entry here. All right, so that would be where we'd kind of be looking for here. So we might actually find an additional entry on GBP JPY here. So into here and then continuing down to this level here. That would potentially be one, for us to look at. So we could put again, wait for area to hit. All right, so that could be another one that we might potentially be looking to enter. I do think there's plenty of downside movement to yen, because it's got a big gap to close before the end of the week. Plus, although there's lots of things happening in Japan, we've obviously got, it can be classed as a safe haven. Obviously, some people would say that it should be classed as a safe haven in this scenario here. So that's also one that we're looking at. Everything's pretty much pound dominated. You could argue that USD is very, very similar here. We've got a couple of levels here. We've obviously got this one where we're currently at, which if this holds, then, we obviously could see either or continuation wise. If we got rid of this, we could see either or here. We could see us coming up to target this area here, where we're targeting just this high here. Or if this doesn't hold, then we could see a bit of a continuation to the downside here. So if we check 15-minute time frame, we've got about 12 minutes left on this. So let's check this after that one there. But that would need dollar to continue and obviously target these highs here. So we'd obviously have to wait and see. AUD, we've obviously, explained what we're kind of looking for here. Equal lows on pound as well. NZD, let's just have a look at this on a slightly higher time frame. Horrible chart there. Look at that. Horrible. You'd actually want to do something completely different and draw a complete box around this, because this is current price action. So anywhere below, we're going to see it go to the downside, and anywhere, so we want to break and then we'll see it come to the downside, or anywhere above and we want to see it come to the downside. I'm a bit I hate to kind of, say it, but dollar wise, I'm a little bit confused on it right now. It's not acting as it usually is. Last week it was very, very easy to trade. This gap here has thrown it all off. I do think we are due some downside movement here, but obviously we've got to wait and see how everything kind of plays out. But I do like if we do get some dollar weakness, Euro AUD would be one which I'd be looking to take. Um, in regards to that, I think we're pretty much there. I think if this level holds, we could even see some more, downside movement here. Because obviously, again, if we're marking structure from market open, it would look something like this. And then we've broken to the downside. However, I would prefer to be, probably selling from anywhere in this area here as opposed to down here. So I'd have to see a couple of 15-minute candle rejections from here if we were going to take it to the downside. So let's wait and see. That's a maybe. Let's put that one as like an orangey. Gold, as explained, anywhere in this area, I would actually like to buy from here. So my trade setup would be here, taking it back up to these all-time highs. Something like this would be perfect. I'm actually going to put this in the group as well. So gold here. Let's put a gold setup as well. There we go. I'm just putting this in the inner circle so they know they got a record of it. This is the beauty of being in the inner circle. You actually get me talking you through what I'm doing, how, why, where, when. So there we go. So let's wait and see how some of these play out. But I'm pretty happy with that. We've got lots of opportunities here. GBP USD is one, GBP JPY. We've got USD JPY, and we've got Euro AUD as well. It'd be interesting to see if we've got obviously lots of support here. If this breaks, we've obviously that then we haven't got too much. It's all pretty close. Next wall that it's going to hit is going to be obviously this area here, so there's no point hopping on a sell trade here because we're going to be straight into a big kind of bang here. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions at all? Feel free to ask away, or if there's anything that you want me to go through, let me know. Euro USD. Another one here. I think if we get that nice bit of dollar strength, then we should see obviously this one continue and tap this monthly key level here. But obviously, I do think we're going to come back up. I can't see why the dollar is trading where it is. And I do think we might see this come back down into this 98 area. What indicator are you using? I don't really use indicators because obviously they're all lagging, but obviously I've got a volume profile tool up which I put from session to session. All it tells you, it's got the top of the session, bottom, so obviously you can see them quite clearly, and then it's got the equilibrium, which is where majority of orders were placed, and as you can see here, this is where the majority of the action was, and that's why it's held here. So I I'm interested, to see. CAD, I'm leaving it open. I think, yeah, we'll obviously just have to wait and see. We've made very, very good profits on GBP, JPY, so don't really have to, worry. And again, like I said, I can actually see this happening anywhere in this area, and then we might even get a nice continuation to the downside here, and we'll have the three peaks as well, which is a good kind of trading pattern to go with. So something like this, and then a continuation will be very, very nice, but we need a nice rejection at this area here. Nile, gold's hit a rocket. Let's have a look. There we go. This is actually New York opening range here. All right, so let's wait and see. That means potentially your AUD is going to break to the downside. Yeah, let's wait and see. You've always got to have options here. Look how squiggly these lines are when you go on a lower time frame. You've always got to have options here. I actually like USD JPY. I'm not going to lie. So let's wait and see. 6 minutes in, 15 minutes. We've had a nice rejection from this area. 5 minutes. Can I talk rubbish for 5 minutes so that we can enter this trade live? That's one thing we're gonna have to wait and see. See if I can think of some not very interesting stuff to come up with. But I do like this. Let's just have a little look here. Let's go on a 5 minute for the sake of it. Okay, I don't mind this. Right, we've had a nice rejection out. If we can get a little bit of a pullback here, then yes, I would be tempted to enter USD JPY to the downside. So have a look at USD CAD starting to come back nicely. Right, let's have a look now. I just want a little bit of a pull back here, and then I'm happy to go with USD JPY. Let me just see. Okay. Okay. That'll be around here, won't it? I do think it could pull up here. I'd like to enter around here. So if we can get that pull up, but if we don't, we'll enter here. I mean, that's still going to be 20. If we have a little bit more, yeah. Let's go for this here. So I'm going to go for a USD JPY. I've had a nice little pop up there. So let's go for it. Let's go for it. And then obviously yen should continue. We should have a nice continuation to the downside here. I think, yeah, GBP might be one that might get triggered, but let's wait and see. Missed it on the copier account. That's annoying. I'm just going to leave it as is and let this one run. So USD JPY. Hopefully you guys caught this. Put a comment in the chat if you just took USD JPY. What are we doing for the Christmas party? I am going to organize one. So I'm going to organize one this year. So stay posted on that because should be good. Should be good. Who entered USDJPY? Who entered USDJPY? It's in profit, so USD CAD is annoying me. It's the most annoying trade ever. I'm actually tempted to close this. USDJPY, nice. Who entered? Fail. I'm in. T entered gold. Let's have another look at gold. Yeah, it is flying. Flying, flying, flying. It always would be. It was just where we did mention this area here. So, but obviously I wanted it to come down to this London low here. But look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, guys. Um, GBP obviously starting to fly. I don't like this candle, so don't look to enter that. GBP JPY, Euro AUD. We've obviously wanted to clear this area. GBP JPY want it to come into this area here. And obviously the other one was GBP USD. Want to see what happens in this area. So let's wait and see. But USD CAD is just a dead trade. It's just the dead one. It's moving so slowly. So let's wait and see. But yeah, so I'm gonna hold it off here. Hope everybody is good. And yeah, we're gonna we're going to probably do I'll be live again tomorrow morning, and then we're gonna do education now on Sundays in a circle, Tuesdays in a circle, and Thursday evenings. I'm going to go through my course chapter by chapter. We'll obviously, work on it in a bit of detail, and then hopefully everyone can improve. Let me get a video for Instagram stories. So everyone put their thumbs up. Thumbs up. Come on, guys. I want a whole screen of thumbs up. Perfect. Perfect. Right. Have a good one, everyone. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on how we get on. Have a good one.